What up, my people? This is your guide to filthy animals, filthy topics. We talk about trash, and one man's trash is another man's treasure. We lit, we live, we ready on late night. We talking chakras. Meditation is my medication. We lit, we live, we ready. We gonna wait for my people to join so we can get back on this conversation on meditation and chakras and the rainbow and all that good stuff. You dig? What up, the guys? We back. We back. Yo, that was a good thing that you said in the last live. Like as far as the third eye and God, that made me think of something. What I was gonna say was, as far as God goes, it depends your perception of God, right? I believe there's a higher power. I definitely believe there's a higher power, but it depends your perception of God. And as far as the third eye, I believe we are godly. We are God's ourselves, which is why we're able to manifest and create things in our lives, good or bad. And I believe that the third eye, when you reach its full potential, is the meaning of heaven or true enlightenment, right? And the reason I say this is because, right, when you look at the Masons and things like that, and what they believe in, right, like they believe that the Bible is not literal, but it's a code, meaning when you reach heaven, meaning the heaven within yourself, like they say Jacob's ladder has 33 steps. And then when you look at the scientific side of it, or the biological side, right? The spine has 33 vertebrae to hit the brain, right? Till it reaches the brain. So that's Jacob's ladder, 33 vertebrae on the spine to reach your brain. Where to reach heaven is considered your highest potential in the brain. You know what I mean? So that's why I say that's a good point that you bring up God and the third eye. And like I said, it depends your potential, but I mean your perception. You know what I'm saying? But as far as God and the third eye, that's what I believe in it. It's your godliest highest potential within yourself. If that makes any sense. Calm with the bad as you back. Excuse me, that weed be having my shit fucked up. The one that created us, yes, we are. I was a Christian for many years, but now I don't consider myself that. I'm on your page now. Now that's funny. Now that was funny. But I do believe we were created. Okay. Like as far as that goes, me too. I also was a big Christian at one point. I believed in what we learned and what was drilled in us. Que la Biblia, you gotta believe what's in it and everything. You had to be reborn. I was that guy that tell you have to bring your life over to Jesus Christ, this, that, and the third. At one point in my life, it's been a long time since I've been like that, you know, because knowledge is power. So now I consider myself agnostic. I know there's a higher power, but I don't believe it was a man that said bing, bang, boom and created everything in 7 days. I believe more on the Buddhist belief that we all one with the universe of one energy and all that blah blah. See, but when you say we were made by a God, like what is a God? You know what I mean? A God can be anything. A God can be a higher entity that came from another planet. Maybe they genetically engineer, how you say that? Genetic engineered us, right? Genetically engineered us. Maybe we were genetically engineered. You know what I mean? Who knows? That's why back in the day they had the How you call those where they had the half horse and the half human and shit like that? We think it's myth, right? Greek myth. But how we know that's not genetic engineering, you know what I mean? I still do believe in that. It's all connected. I believe in that too. I believe we were made in his image, male and female. I personally believe God was a male and a female. So you think God is a hermaphrodite? I'm just saying. You not even being like funny about it. You think God is a hermaphrodite? It's funny that you say that, because what did I see? Was I watching was it Mike Tyson, hot boxing with Mike Tyson? And they sort of asked that question. And I think that the answer the kid said was like, I don't think God is a male or female. I think it's both. It's balance. That was his words. It's balance. I think God is love. That's what I do think. She said, no, not like that. Kind of though. Wait, hold on. Because it's like how about when you go to church, right? We've been to church. Karma, you've been to church. We've all been there. How about when you've been to church, right? And you feel that that feeling that makes you cry, and that great big feeling that just makes you break down in the church, and you don't even know where it came from, and you got the chills in your body, and they say, oh, it's the Holy Ghost and this, that. What do you think about that? You know what I'm saying? Is that the presence of God? Is that everyone on one frequency with the same presence, with the same frequency of love? You know what I'm saying? On the same spiritual vibration? She said, we all start out as a female until the balls drop. That is very true. That is very true. And then the penis forms. That is very true. I don't claim to have all the answers. I can only tell you what I think in my mind. I believe God is also a spirit. No, I believe it. Listen, hold on. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying what you believe is wrong, or I'm just saying my opinion. This is what I think. I'm not saying I have facts to the 100%. I'm just giving my perception on the topics you throwing out there and what I think about them. Should it be cool if you join the live and, you know what I mean, and tell us what you know what I mean, your thoughts and all that. It'd be dope. Typing away over there. Yo, but who knows? If there's a God, it could be a spirit. It could be a man. It could be a lion, half man, half lion, like in Egypt, the way they did the pharaohs. Who fucking knows? You be alright. You be alright. Ain't nobody gonna see you. Shit. Alright, that'll work. Go. No, but yeah, I think we pretty much on the same boat though, you know? We pretty much on the same boat. Knowledge is power. When you start learning these things, you know, you put your own theories together. You don't just take what they tell you. Like, you know, since little kids, like, esto lo que es, this is what it is. And bada bing, bada boom, you're going to listen to this and you're going to take that for fact. And, you know, we at a place in life where we ain't just going to take anything for just it to be what it is, what you say it is. Know what I mean? Now I'm about to roll up. She said you can still talk. I'm about to roll up while you go freshen up. But yo, you know what's a good book y'all need to read? And it's sort of, it's a fake story around it, but a lot of the facts are real. It's The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown. It's the last chapter to like the Da Vinci Code and what is that shit? Angels and Demons. It's the last chapter to it, and it breaks down a lot of the Masonic beliefs and things like that. I think it's a good book, so you guys can get. And another good book that y'all can get is called As a Man Thinketh. And when you read that book, right, The Lost Symbol, and then you read As a Man Thinketh, right, and you put those two books together, you will have a whole epiphany. I promise you will have a whole epiphany, because when you see the facts, right, that they state in The Lost Symbol, and then you start reading As a Man Thinketh, that is a book that was written in the 1800s somewhere, the original book, and you put those two books combined together, I swear you will have an epiphany. You will have an epiphany that you will be just amazed, and you'll have a whole different outlook on everything. Remember, like I said, As a Man Thinketh, that's one book, but you want to read The Lost Symbol first, and then read As a Man Thinketh. And then when you combine those facts, you're going to be like, what the fuck? This is no coincidence. This is amazing. The first book is called The Lost Symbols by Dan Brown. And then the second book is As a Man Thinketh. Like I said, the first book is the last book to Angels and Demons. The Da Vinci Code is called The Lost Symbol. That's the first book that I recommend that you read first. And that book is a fictional book. So the story around it never happened, but the facts in the book are 100% fact. Factual and to be true. You can Google them shits after and you'll be fucking surprised. Even with the facts they have on Galileo and how he created science and a whole bunch of shit. No, The Lost. L-O-S-T. The Lost Symbol. Telling you, they're great books. One of them is like a motivational self-help book. Learn to like manifestation and shit like that. That's the As a Man Thinketh. And that book was written in the 1800s, the original book, or early 1900s, some shit like that. And it's crazy because it connects with something called noetic science. Noetic science is pretty much science of the mind and how you can manifest shit, or telepathy and all type of shit. Yeah, sorry, I'm a nerd. If you don't know, I'm a nerd. I watch all these crazy documentaries that be boring. They be like, eyes, dry eyes. They be talking all monotone and shit. You be falling asleep like dry eyes. Huh? Remember that commercial? Let me stop. I'm high as shit. Don't mind me. I'm high and tired. How do you go live? Like this. Bada bing. Bada boom. I sent you a request, and then I guess you answer the request. You didn't get the request?
What up?
What up, girl? How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise,
No,
likewise. So what's up?
no.
How's everything? I'd love to hear your feedback on all this craziness.
What's your name?
Filthy.
Filthy?
Mm-hmm.
Filthy. Andrea, and this is Shadow.
Andrea, nice to meet you. Let me see who's Shadow. Where's Shadow at?
Shadow.
What up, Shadow?
She's always wanted to be inside. She always like clowns all over me.
Nice, nice. Pets are good. Pets are good for the mental health.
What do you say you're in New York?
I'm originally from New York, but I live in New England now, which is like
That's right.
borderline Massachusetts.
That's right. You said that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So what I was talking about was The Lost Symbols by Dan Brown. That was the first book, and then the second book is As a Man Thinketh.
I'm gonna look into all that.
Yeah, they good books. Like I said, you enjoy them. If you into shit like that, and like I said, when you put the pieces of the puzzle together, you have a big epiphany. Your head to be fucked up.
Yeah, I was in the church for over 20 years. I was a born again Christian since I was a teenager, and I still do believe in Jesus. I just cannot deny all the other stuff that I've learned since then.
Right.
No, and a lot of stuff that I did believe in turned out to be bullshit. So
what was the big like turn for you that made you like open your eyes out of the church? Like, what was the big thing that made you like start?
How long do you have?
Huh?
It's a long story. I have to start from the beginning.
Ready. All the way from the beginning.
All the way from the beginning? No.
All the way.
It's like shit. Well, I'm just give you like a rundown from like when I was small to how I got to become a Christian. So I basically
were you like a pastor? Did you become a pastor at one point? Okay.
My ex-husband almost was. He used to preach and stuff, go to churches, and he would get paid for it. So we were almost there, you know. But that was like the least of what God did in my life, you know. That was what he did in his life. But since I was little, I always believed in God. I come from like background of Catholicism, Catholic roots. Okay. But my parents were never married, so I was basically a bastard, a love child.
Me too.
That was born into. My dad's family was religious Catholics. My mom's family didn't believe in God. And then
what's your nationality?
Italian, Irish, Mexican, English.
Oh, so wait, what side is which side? If you don't mind me asking.
My dad was the Mexican side, English side, and my mom was Italian, Irish.
So which one were the like devoted Catholics, and which one were like
the Mexicans were the ones that were devoted Catholics.
Okay.
My other family, my Irish family, Italian family, didn't believe in nothing. Because my grandfather was an orphan, and he was raised in an orphanage. So we didn't have no roots from that side.
Got it. Okay, cool.
So at home, my parents were separated by the time I was 4 years old. So at home, I didn't have no religion. My mom was just a good woman that worked and, you know, paid her bills, and that's all that she did. She was a good woman. That's it. No church, no God, no religion, nothing. So whenever I would visit my dad's family, they would always tell me about the Catholic Church and about God, but more on a religious side. But no matter what, God always made a way for me to know about Jesus, because everywhere I lived was some kind of Christian tell me about Jesus since I was a little girl. My friends at school when I was in, my parents put me into a Christian preschool, and they didn't even believe in God. So there was my first meet with Jesus when I was like 3 years old. Then my parents separated. I moved to the mountains with my mom. My neighbor was a little Christian girl. I used to go to Christian church. Then I moved to Lodi, which is another city like 2.5 hours away. Again, my best friend down the street was a Christian. I was always placed around Christians my whole life. So I always had a relationship with Jesus. I always talked to Jesus. I always felt the Holy Spirit. I always felt and knew he was real. That's why I can never deny him. And I can't say he's just a spirit or it's us. I do believe we're a connection to him, but I've seen miracles, like he's performed miracles. I was calling out in a bathroom, tripping on acid. And I called on the name of Jesus, and that's when everything came normal. So I can never deny him. I cannot. Like no one could take that from me, and it's an experience that I have personally. But
no, I respect it. Because I sort of, to this day, I sort of still struggle with that.
I do too. But here's the thing. So I started going to Christian church at different times in my life, but I never really committed till I was a teenager. Then when I was 15, I asked Jesus to come in my heart. And from that moment, I did feel a difference. Like the Bible actually made sense to me, as to before, it didn't ever make sense to me before. And when I felt like as I was older and I really made a conscious choice with my mind, like I started understanding stuff, and God became real in my life. And I had a lot of spiritual things that he showed me, casting out demons, laying hands on sick, healing people. I experienced all that. I personally experienced it from my own hand to other people. So I know that that's real. I cannot deny it. I can't deny it.
It's like they say, right? What does the Bible say? Jesus is within us. The light is within us.
Yes. Everything that I still believe in, I've always believed in. And everything I've always struggled are the lies that were exposed. Like the church stuff, the people, the control, man-made stuff, all the judging, all that shit. That's all man-made. The control part, people and their rules and their laws, that's all bullshit.
So
even to be able to cut is a freedom. I have the freedom, and I don't consider myself a Christian. I take that term as a derogatory term. Just like you would say, like call someone a nigger. That's a bad word. You don't call somebody that. You don't call somebody a Christian. Christian was a slang term that they spoke evil. They're like, oh, you Christian. I'm not a Christian. I'm a child of God. The person that made you made me. That made the whole world.
Right.
That person made me. So I learned a lot. Like it took me a long time to learn these things on my own. Not to believe what a man said, or even I used to believe in the Bible 100%. I don't anymore. Because why? It's made by a man. It has to be flawed. If it's made by a human, it has to be flawed in some way, shape, or form. Period.
Yeah, like let me ask you a question. See, like I believe that the Bible has a lot of truth. It definitely has been manipulated along the way. But like I said, in the Bible it says Jesus is in you, the light is in you. Jesus moved mountains, you can move mountains, right?
Yes.
So like you said, you've been through many spiritual things, and you've been able to heal people yourself and cast out spirits and things like that, right? So do you think there's a possibility somewhere in there that it wasn't Jesus, but the godly side of yourself that you pushed to that level to do these things yourself?
I have considered that now that maybe his name isn't even Jesus, but maybe that, you know what I mean? Like I have considered all these things. I really have.
Like you're that powerful that you heal those people, you cast those demons out.
Right. I've considered that. Yeah.
Because your faith is so strong.
Yeah.
And we don't know our own power at times, you know? And at the same time, like I say, I've been through these things. I was into the church. I believe in casting out demons. I believe in spirits and things like that. Like, I'll give you a small example. In my grandmother's house, in her apartment where she lived at for 30 years, there was a ghost there. And this ghost would tell my uncle to throw himself out the window, all type of craziness. And we thought he was crazy till I lived in that apartment myself, alone, right? And like I said, my grandmother was there for 30 years. So she would be in that house and she would cast them out, right? You're Spanish, right? So she would, tú no estás en mundo, esta es mi casa, yo no te quiero aquí, I don't want you here, en el nombre de Jesucristo, I don't want you here, all that stuff. And, you know, we would think she was crazy until I lived there by myself and I experienced the bad spirit that lived there.
Yeah.
And then I was walking around the house saying, this is my house, I don't want you here. In the name of Jesus, I cast you out my home, and this, that, and the third. And the house will be peaceful for a while until she would come back, because it was a female. And as I tell you this, my hairs are standing. I got the chills. It's real.
See,
but
I believe in all that.
But it's like, so that's just a small example of, I understand the struggle of how can I not believe it when I've also cast out something that was evil by using that name.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I can't deny that.
But then I question myself, was it just my faith and my own power that was able to cast that spirit out? Because at the end of the day, we're all spirits and we're all just on different planes at different times. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. This is the only thing I'm going to tell you, that I can only tell you from my experience. That's all I can tell you. So basically, as a teenager, I went to church. I devoted my life to God. I became a Christian. I was totally different. I was totally consumed with God. I left my sinful ways. I mean, God did a really powerful thing in my life. He really did. He changed me. I allowed him to change me. And yes, at the time, I did give credit to God. My mom would always say, you're the one making the choices. You know, she would always tell me, if she would give me money, I would be like, oh, thank God. I'd be like, thank you, Mom. She's like, what do you mean, thank God? No, thank me.
Like, I gave you this shit.
So I always had that, you know, her telling me all that. But I always gave glory to God, what I thought was God, you know, whatever. Well, then I got married and I became a mom and a wife, and I did the whole Christian thing at church, family thing. Well, I mean, he cheated on me so many times that it broke my spirit. I finally kicked him out. We went through a divorce, separation, then divorce. That really destroyed my faith in God, because all I ever wanted was my own family. All I ever wanted was to be a wife and a mom, and that was my devotion, what I believed in. And when all that got destroyed, I didn't have anything else to believe in, and I blamed God too, because I was like, why do you put me here on this earth with these people who were never even married, to split up, to destroy my family, separate my family? Then I try to make a family that supposedly you say to do, and I feel like I pray and I pray.
So it's safe to say, like, that was the big turning point.
That was like big turning points. And also with going to church, that
a house blessing and said good luck. We shunned away from the church.
Yeah, all the people are listening. I forgot that people are listening. So then,
I'm sorry.
No, I started like, I was really like, you know how people go to church and you could tell like they live for the church or they're so involved with church. No, I was always living with God, with Jesus. I had a relationship with God. I would challenge the people at the church. I was always a little outcast at church because I always come against hypocrisy, religion. I would always speak against all that. And like, I didn't understand why the lady came into church and she needs help with her PG&E bill. And in 5 minutes, I had the money for her. But my pastor said, you don't have the right to ask for it because it's not, you're not in charge. But yet I had the money ready for the lady. God told me to do it and I did it and it got done. But yet I'm in trouble because I didn't have the authority at church, because I didn't tell the pastor for his permission. I just always dealt with shit like that. Like, and I was just like, Or I would be like, let's go outreach to the homeless and feed the poor and do this and that. And they just had no concept. Like, I don't get it. They told me to divorce, and like, divorce is not what God wants me to do, but you're telling me to divorce. God told me to forgive my husband and give it another try. That's what God told me to do. Just because you said one thing. So I started seeing the difference of what God was telling me. I would come in my house, in my prayer closet, and talk with God. Then I would go to church, and I feel like they put a wet blanket on me. And I'd be like, something's wrong with this picture, because I'm growing leaps and bounds at home in my spirit with God personally, my relationship. And then I go to church, and it's like dealing with a bunch of bullshit.
See, like this is where a lot of the truth, this is where some of the truth in the Bible kicks in, right? What they say Jesus did when he went into the church, he flipped the tables for the greed and all the craziness. Listen, that's where some of the truth kicks in, the hypocrisy, that, you know what I mean? We still have it today, thousands of years later.
Why is why are these girls competing with me in church when they're supposed to be my sisters? Like,
right, we have egos. We have some of the biggest egos in the church.
So when basically the first part that really got me was when I forgave my husband for cheating on me, and my pastor and his wife started treating me like crap because of it. They started shunning me and treating my kids different. My pastor's wife told me I was being a bad example because I was letting him abuse me. And I said, no. According to what I believe, which was the Bible at the time, you're supposed to turn the other cheek, and you're supposed to forgive, and you're supposed to let God be God. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. Like, I believe it was time to forgive. Right. Now there came a time when he used that card too many times, and it was time to put it down and shut it down. And I knew at the time when to do it, but it took me time. I try to give my time first to God and first to my husband, like a chance. For
right. At that time, you were following your heart, and you were doing the right thing, and what you thought was the right thing. That's understandable, especially as a woman. You know, yeah, women operate different and think different, especially when it comes to families and your kids and your views of where you want your life. So, you know, it's real different for you women.
Starting to treat me differently, and they even treat my kids differently. That's when I was like, okay, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Like, you could do something to me, but not my kids. Like, we're done here. And so I started looking for another place to go. And this is after 20 years that I left the church. And I was still with my husband at the time. And at the time I started fasting. I started doing a lot more personally with God. Like really listening to my inner person. You know what I'm saying? Like my inner spirit. And then after that, like, I tried this other church, and it just became like more of the same with the people. Right. And I was just like,
because humans are still humans.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't believe in all the shit you guys are saying. Like, I don't get it.
Especially when you see that they're not living by it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
If God's so powerful, then why is everybody struggling so much? And I don't believe that it's, because the devil comes harder at the people that live for God. Bullshit. Bullshit. Like, I do believe that, but who's stronger then? You still have to do right, even if someone's coming at you. You still have to do right.
Stronger. That was stronger than God is seeming right now.
Yeah. So then, I'm not gonna be honest. I said, I'm done with this. I told God, I said, God, I'm trying to be on fire for you, like I know to do. And for some reason, I feel like you're not meeting me like the way you used to meet me. And I was like, I'm doing this all by myself. I was struggling to take my kids to church when my ex-husband didn't want to go. My little girl was running up and down the pews. All my boys, I had them in line. But my little girl, she was wild. She'd run up and down the church. So then she was only one.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but it's crazy, right? Looking from the outside in and like what you're telling me. And it's like, then when you compare like the two different mind states of where you were at in those places, right?
Yeah.
Like, you was in love with your husband. You was about your family. This, that, and the third. God was working for you. Your faith was up, right? Because what you believed in was strongly, you were seeing it. It was present.
Yeah.
Right? That's one mind state. And then now you have the divorce, and now your mind state is like, I don't believe in this shit no more. What I believed in is broken.
Yeah.
So now your faith with God is broken. And now look what you just said. You said, God wasn't working for me no more. Like he was. And it's like, it's because your faith wasn't at its potential anymore, and it wasn't pushing your own godly energy to make this. It's crazy. I'm just putting shit together. So it's
No,
like
it's good that you're saying
it,
that, but
it's crazy.
what I'm talking about. Let me go back to. I didn't really explain myself. When I was single, when I wasn't married, that's when the power was working. That's when I devoted everything to God. That's when I was really obedient. But as I became a Christian, I'm not a Christian. When I started getting married and became a wife, I started like, yes, I would listen to God, but then I also have my husband tell me stuff too. And if I would please God, it would displease my husband. If I would please my husband, then it would displease God. And I was in the middle trying to please God, my husband, and the church, which is all three different things. I kid you not. It was three different things.
Right? You can't do all three. That's impossible.
Trying to please my husband, trying to please the people. And when I finally said, I'm going to please God and God only, is when I left the church. Because I was doing the right thing for God. It's just, no matter what I did, no matter how hard I prayed, that man was not changing. And I didn't believe that. I believe that you believe, you pray, you're going to move mountains, you're going to do things, right? But you cannot force someone's will. No matter what, you cannot force somebody's will.
Right.
And I didn't know before. Like, I didn't realize that. Like, I thought, oh, I'm going to get my way no matter what, you know?
Right.
And I'm not years for it. And that's another thing I had a beef with God. It's like, I don't get you. I don't get your ways. And I don't like your ways, to be honest. And I used to tell God just like that. Like, I really got fed up with the whole thing. Like, I really did. I'm telling you.
You know what it is, too? Sometimes that we forget that, like, even though that was your husband, his story and his journey is his story and his journey.
I know all that
with
now.
the higher power. And
I'm not,
you know what I'm saying?
all the way out of there. That's half the story. So then,
I bet. No, I bet. You said 20 years, so I know
so
there's a lot in between and out and on the on the outer edges.
I left that second church and I said, okay, I'm done with this right now. I told God, if I can't be on fire for you, you said, and I was always believing the word of God. You said, if I'm not going to be on fire for you, then it's better that you be cold than to be lukewarm. And so I was trying to go hot for God. And it was just like, no matter what I did, I could not regain my ground. And then I said, I'm sick of this. Like, I feel like I'm trying to burn on fire my soul for you and do right. And everything is falling off around me, like falling down. And I said, I'd rather go cold then. And that's what I did. I went cold. I chose to go cold. I said, because then I'll have a better chance to be reached if I'm cold than to be lukewarm, because he said he'll spit me out of his mouth if I'm lukewarm. And that's what I believe. So that's what happened. Well, out of all that, then more stuff went.
So pretty much it's like, fuck with you, and I don't know no other way to put it. It's like,
yeah,
I'm a fuck with you all the way, or I'm not gonna fuck with you at all. There's no in between.
Exactly, because that's what he says to do. That's the way he wants it. He
That's
don't want
crazy.
another. So I did, and I did. And I said, fuck it. And then after that, I end up giving up on my husband because he finally kept doing what he always did, and I finally got fed up with him too. I was just like, I'm not doing this no more, because I seen the sign over and over and over and over and over again. And I said, this is not just something to be forgiven. This is a lifestyle. And if he wants to be single, he could go live single out there and not here with me. You want to screw everybody? I don't care, but you're not going to screw me too. Bye. So I left him. I made him leave. And then after that, I was really hurt for like 2 years, like really angry, really pissed. I even started getting into the Satanic Bible. I started calling upon Lucifer. Whoa. I started doing the whole thing. Yes.
So you really like went at him. Like you really went like full circle, like screw this shit.
Yes. And then
it's crazy because look where you at now in your growth, and look what it took for you to like grow this far. It took a bunch of that
part. So then this was in 2019. No, 2020. So 2019, I kicked my ex out. I went to Amazon. I started working at Amazon. I met my good friend Brenda. Me and her were cool for a year. Then her man cheated on her, and she went nuts. And she went to look for the witch, the bruja. She went to find her.
Oh man, she went to do some brujeria.
Yeah. And so, and then the lady that we found, like she found, read tarot cards, and I always wanted to get my cards read, and I always kind of believed in that, even though I knew it was evil. So I said, I got to get my cards read. Now that I'm not going to church and all that, I want to see what these cards say. So I paid the lady. She read my cards, and she had me in tears. She said every fucking thing that was going on in my life, and she touched me, and she got me out of my depression because I got off the couch because she said exactly what's going on. And she told me what I needed to do, and I did it. Like she's the one that helped me, okay? And so she's in the Santeria and all this and that, and I wasn't even going to be a part of that and everything. Like,
not all of them are evil.
no,
not all of them are bad.
Exactly.
There's some good witches.
I started getting into Santa Muerte. I made my altar. I started praying to Santa Muerte, giving her offerings. She started doing everything I asked her to do. She did everything I asked her to do.
Your faith.
Everything.
Was it her or your own faith? See, that's the fight. That's the fight right there. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Like,
my energy.
Like you believe that it was her making it happen so much that things was happening. But was it
your own...
you or her, or was it you or Jesus? You see the two different, like...
It was both. I believe it's both times. So then, after
I think it's a little bit of both. Faith is strong.
So then after that, I started paying her to do everything for me. Paying her if I like this guy. Paying her I need this money. Paying her for this. Paying her for that. Everything. Getting everything I want. Yeah. Paying for everything. But then it started getting expensive. I'm paying this bitch thousands of dollars to do all this shit when I know I can learn myself and do it myself. So that's what I did. I started learning to do shit by myself. Then I started watching the tarot cards on YouTube that I still do to this day. And that is what truly changed my life, are those tarot cards. Because when those women and men started speaking things into my life on that TV, then they started talking about meditation. Then I started talking about everything that I already heard before that I heard was evil, in witchcraft and meditation and energy and all that. And so I started talking about meditation. And I remember in the Bible, it always talked about meditation, but we never did that as Christians. But it says it in the Bible about meditation. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this, because at the time, the lady said, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a billionaire. And I was going to manifest that shit. So I was all about the money. I'm going to manifest this and I'm going to manifest that. And I started listening to everything they were saying. And I was doing all this stuff and things were happening. Like I was putting my energy and I was making shit. And so I was like, wait a minute. By the third time I meditated, I opened my chakras. I could see the colors inside the rainbow. I could see energy. And I can still see energy to this day now. When I close my eyes, I see whatever energy is focusing. Like the other day I was talking to this guy I really like. I closed my eyes, I seen the green. That's the heart chakra. I could see like liquid, like Lucy, like how she's seen the tree with all the colors. I could see that.
Right. Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, when you eat,
I believe you. You can look up on YouTube right now, or not even YouTube. You can just Google it, and there's people that can see chakras, and they can tell if someone's gonna die, and all type of shit just by they have that aura, that part of their mind open, and they're able to see these things. So I believe in all that. Like the deepest level of meditation I was able to reach, I was able to astral project, and it was only for a quick second, and fear stopped me from moving forward or ever even trying to meditate that deep again.
I've never done that. I haven't done what I haven't astral projected. I've gotten to the end of the light, but I've never went out. Because I went out.
I went out.
See,
and I got scared and I right back in.
It's like water. You start realizing what
Thou said, I believe you too. I also see those things. Like let me tell you something. Those cars are real. Like a lot. There's a lot of frauds. But I went to Atlantic City in New Jersey with my friend for his birthday, and there was a lady doing cards there. And for his birthday, I'm like, yo, come on, man, I got you. I'm gonna pay. Let's see what the lady says. But it was four of us actually, and we all end up doing it. And the lady said my life to the T.
See?
The lady said my life to the T, how many siblings I had. And at first she was like, you got 5 siblings? I'm like, no. She's like, yes, you do. I'm like, no, I don't. I forgot that my mom had a baby that had passed away before me.
Oh my God. See?
Right. And then she told me also something about myself and my family lineage that I've been hearing for years. Also, the same way you said that you went to the church as a kid, and for some reason there was always some type of godly Jesus presence in your life. So I can relate to that because same thing with me. And since a kid, my aunt, who was deep in the church, would always tell me, "You don't understand where you come from." De chiquito, she would tell me this. You don't understand where you come from. Your lineage is very strong from your from your grandfather's side. Like you come from an ancient lineage and blah blah blah. I've been hearing it from small, from
Yeah.
her, from specifically from her. And so when we go in front of this lady, she says, "Oh, you come from a very long lineage of healers and this, that, and the third, and blah blah blah." This lady don't know me from a
I got the chills.
this lady don't know me from a hole in the wall.
I got the chills.
She says, I see you helping a lot of people through some way, and I don't know if it's somewhere like the internet or this and that, but whatever it is, you got to keep doing it. This is what she told me. She don't know that I do a podcast. She don't. She said, but I see that you help a lot of people, and you already been helping a lot of people without even knowing it, and just things like that. And it was just so crazy because she hit everything, even down to my relationship. She said somebody did a brujeria on you years ago that's affected you for years. And that's crazy because, like you said, you've been to the Santeria lady and had things done for people to like you or for whatever it is. So, so someone pretty much did a trabajo on me. They did a job on me that's been affecting me throughout the years. And this lady has she called everything out to the T without knowing me. And my other 3 friends came out just as pale as me when they walked out that shit.
You know what I think's crazy? How you're saying your story, I'm saying mine, and out of all the entire world, the whole universe, that we are the only 2 people, or now maybe 3rd, on here talking about this. Like, that's not a coincidence. Like, for whatever reason that's supposed to come out of this, like, it's meant to be. That's how I feel. I feel that.
Definite. I feel that too because I think on that level too, there's no coincidence in life.
I've seen you before that I even remember. I can't even recall. No, I'm not playing. Like, I'm dead serious. And I don't know what, like, I just wanted to see what you were saying. Like, I seen your live and I went there.
No, cool. Appreciate you.
I'm sure I like your page and stories. I like all kinds of stories. I watch everybody's stories, you know what I mean?
Right. Like what it is, I just started this page, so I just started pushing for a lot of new followers. So that's how we probably got connected somehow.
I like it. Like what you're like, I feel like drawn to you. I was like, I didn't know why. I liked what you were saying.
No, thank you. Like I said, like you said, it's meant for us to speak and maybe catch some awareness and
We'll have everybody watching, huh? The whole world. We'll tell them the aliens are coming. Better get your ass right. So what happened? The lady. What else did she tell you? Like any predictions or just kind of like where you're.
I think they say that to everybody. They see us with a lot of money.
No, they don't actually, because they say.
Well, yeah. For me, she was like, "You really don't have a problem with money. I see you like you're fine and blah 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 and shit like that."
Yeah.
So she didn't really like give me no horrible thing. But as far as like my friends went, yeah, you're right. Some of the predictions weren't too good.
So when I started meditating,
who's info? Nina Dow. Said the aliens.
The aliens. She said aliens. Somebody said aliens. So then, when I started meditating, guess what happened when I meditated? That's when everything that was inside of me, all the negative energy, all the unforgiveness, I wanted to kill the woman that my ex-husband cheated with. I wanted to kill her with my bare hands. I wanted to literally murder her, and I'm not playing or being sarcastic. I literally, what kept me from it is my children. I didn't want to go to prison, and I didn't want my kids to be motherless. But I wanted to kill the bitch with my bare hands. I hated her. I would talk about her every single day for 3
That
years.
somebody that took your family, or you felt that she did that, or whatever you know, you have some, you know, of course it's natural for anyone to feel that way.
It's easy to forgive him because I loved him. I had a relationship with him. It's easy to hate her because she's a woman. She's a stranger to me. So it's easy to put on, even though I know he has his part.
And the crazy part is, as much as you don't want to hear, it's not even her fault.
It's not her fault, but this is what I didn't like. When I came to her as a woman, she called me names, disrespected me, and I wasn't even coming at her that way, and she took it personal. That's the reason I hated her. It was because of that, but it was more for the way she spoke to me, and she had no kind of mercy or nothing. Like,
yeah, she had like remorse. She didn't give two fucks, pretty much. So that right there. Nina, I'm sorry, the lady that told me that was a lady in Atlantic City. I don't have her number. It was a coincidence. We walked up on the lady and she was there, her booth.
And like Atlantic City?
In Atlantic City, yeah. In New Jersey. That's in New Jersey.
Probably still there now, huh?
But she's probably there every summer or some shit.
Yeah, you can find it on the internet. You can find anything on the internet these days.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So once I started meditating, all that came out. And that's how I knew it was real, because you know what happened after that? I got reconnected back with God through that, because I didn't even have any intention of that. Like, I didn't intend to get connected back with God. I didn't have no intention of forgiving her or getting rid of my altar of Santa Muerte. I had no intention of any of that. But I felt God spoke in my spirit to do it. That I didn't that I didn't.
Can I ask you, when you say God spoke in your spirit and it just made you switch everything, what do you mean by that? Like where were you at in this meditation that just caused this feeling?
So
what was that?
Through the colors of the chakra, I went through the chanting. I did everything. I opened up my soul, and I seen the colors. And as I did that, I went like a trance, or that you would think in church being called slain.
Mm-hmm.
That when you get slain in the Holy Ghost.
Yep.
Okay, so pretty much the same thing. I went in a trance. I got slain, and when I was in there, I got casted out demons. I cast them out of myself. They were coming out, and I was saying a bunch of weird shit, and I was crying, and I was bawling from my soul like I've never bawled and cried ever in my life. And when I was confessing all these things, I forgive her, I forgive him, it was coming out of me. And I was like releasing everything. And then when I was done with all that, I had like a peace come on me. And I was just like, I felt, and God speaks to me in my thoughts. That's how he speaks to me. I had, like, I don't need the altar no more. I don't need her anymore. Like, I have everything I need right here inside of me. And it was God. It's not just me. Because I'm a connection to something, just like our children are. I don't know if you're a father, but our children are connected to us.
I have 4 children myself.
It's not just us. We're connected.
Nina Dow says she can't meditate. It gives her anxiety attacks.
Yeah, well, try, hun. That's probably more of a need that you need to do that. You have to breathe.
That's what I think. I think it's something you need to force. Not force, but it's what people don't understand, that meditation is an exercise. People just want to go and meditate for 10 minutes over it, 2 minutes over a minute. It's not going to happen. It starts 1 second at a time.
And you got to breathe.
1 second at a time, and you learn to control it and ease your mind 1 second at a time, and you learn how to breathe, and you learn. It's a process of learning. No one ever learns how to meditate from 1 sec to the next. It's an exercise. It's just like doing push-ups. You're not gonna do 100 push-ups your first rep. You know what I'm saying? You got to start with 1. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like the anxiety, you gotta take your time, and the more control over time that you get, the more control you feel over everything.
Don't have
yourself, life.
No expectations.
Right.
That's what I was saying. Because when you have expectations, that's where the fear comes and anxiety comes, because you're expecting that you need to do something or something needs to get done, and then you start tripping out.
Right.
Meditation
when you try not to think and then you realize 20 seconds later that you've been thinking.
That's exactly what meditation is. Absolutely nothing. Just you
Right. It's
breathing in, breathing out, like just being still. Like the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. That's what I feel. That's what happened to me. And when I did it, like, oh my God, from the first time I ever tried, I was like her, like, oh my God, like this is so boring. Or like, I'm thinking like, is this working? And I'm like, am I doing this right? I'm rewinding the tape and trying over and over and over and over. By the third,
like what do you think about spirit animals?
I don't know too much about it.
Let me tell you something, right? And this is I have like proof of like people that's come with me. And like I said, I do meditate. So like before I go to work and before I do certain things, I'll meditate and I'll get into a good place of where I want to be and what I want to happen, whatever I do, right? And it turns out that when I do these things and I get into this deep spiritual space, there's been a brown rabbit that appears to me at certain times, and it's no coincidence because it's been over 6 times, and there's been times that I've been working and I've been with a friend or with a cousin, and I'll tell them like, you don't understand. When we see the rabbit, everything's gonna be okay. When we see the rabbit, we're good. It's gonna be a good day. I swear to God, I really mean this shit. And
wholeheartedly.
been times that I'll be working and next thing you know, see the rabbit and it turned from a shitty day to a great day, right?
Where do you see
so
it?
It got to the point, huh?
Where do you see it at?
It depends. I can be driving somewhere, right? And something to tell me like you say God, I say my gut, I say intuition, right? Let's say like, okay, I'll give you an example. The last time was, well, the last time that I was with somebody that they seen it was I was with my cousin and we was driving and we was on the highway and me dio to just come out on this exit. I said, yo, let me just get out of here. Let me pull in here. I'm going to take a piss. Fuck it. I pull in there. Instead of going to the rest stop and go use the bathroom like a normal human being, I pull to the back and say, I'm going to go piss in the woods.
Now, that's what I would do.
Well, it wasn't woods, but it was just like little tree area, whatever it is. As soon as I go out there, the rabbit shoots out, does 3 spins like it does, looks at me, takes off. I got videos of it. Different occasions of different rabbits, of course. Not like it's not the same rabbit. But I mean,
rabbit? Like a real one?
A real rabbit, love, not an imaginary rabbit.
Holy shit.
I mean, like a real rabbit would shoot out the woods, spin 3 times, look at me, sit there, and then take off. And it's been times, like I said, like I'll be working, and like I said, the last time I was with my cousin, I pull in there, I go to piss, and the rabbit pops out. Bow! See the rabbit. It's to the point that 2 times before that I'm with my cousin, and the rabbit comes out. This motherfucker been doing the same job for years. He ain't never seen a motherfucking rabbit ever in his life come out. He goes to work with me and he sees the rabbit, and I told him ahead of time.
Yeah.
Now you gonna see the rabbit. When you see the rabbit, it means we gonna make good money. Bada bing, bada boom. So now, this motherfucker, when he see the rat, he's like, yo, I seen the rabbit. So it's to that point where it's that real. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've taken my other friend with me to work, and we went to work, and I told him, yo, the rabbit situation, it's like I'm telling you. And it's when I do this deep meditation and I get into this spiritual space that it happens.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to tell you.
I believe you.
And another situation, I pull into where I'm supposed to do a delivery, and we pull in there, and bada bing, bada boom, the rabbit, and my friend is like, oh shit, you're not found the rabbit. I never seen a rabbit in Jersey.
Well,
Like, we're talking different places. New Jersey, Connecticut. There's no coincidence in life. But that's my spirit animal, the rabbit. We got 15 seconds left.
Oh my God.
Love, I'm going to call it a wrap. It was great speaking with you, though. I appreciate you hopping on with me.